Welcome back. I'm Richard HAASNOOT, and I'm your host for the Advanced Wisdom Series, where I share with you some of the highest wisdom available to humanity today. Because my goal is to help you live more of a wisdom-inspired life. And in the course of these episodes, I'll be making some specific suggestions that you can take to live a wisdom-inspired life. Well, the wisdom in these episodes comes from three God-realized enlightened avatars that I've studied the most: Krishna, Jesus, and Paramahansa Yogananda. As God-realized enlightened avatars, they know God. So when they speak or write, we are getting the wisdom of God. So, with that said, let's dive into the first of the quotes for today. It's a short one, but rather important. Self-control is not self-torture, but leads instead to soul happiness. A lot in this very short statement. Okay? What self-control is, and among other things, is resisting immediate gratification in some situations. And this allows individuals to resist the impulse for immediate gratification in favor of longer-term goals and values. Okay? Instead of impulsive actions, we take thoughtful actions. Okay? It also helps to have self-control if we can manage our emotions. And there's a whole area of expertise called emotional intelligence that, if you're interested, can really, really help. And the last thing is that self-control can truly enhance self-esteem because we don't regret impulsive actions, for example. Next quote. The devotee is happy to renounce a sensory pittance for the everlasting joy of God realization. The divine state of final emancipation, namely achieving enlightenment, is not a state of blank nothingness or a condition of inner extinction. It is rather the dimension of positive, conscious sense of eternal, blessed expansion. Okay? Least we think that when we achieve the ultimate goal as a human, which is enlightenment, where we eventually graduate from the human kingdom to the divine or spiritual kingdom, is nothingness. It is the place of eternal, blessed expansion, where we experience bliss and joy. Bliss is something that the wisdom traditions say relative to humanity about not that can be said about it. Because it's bliss, while we understand it's a simple word, it's not, the feeling of it is not something that we as humans really experience. We can mistake certain things for that feeling, but that doesn't mean that's what bliss is about. Bliss is what is achieved at higher levels of enlightenment. Okay? So when we achieved this expansion of consciousness, we also achieve freedom from suffering, awakening to truth, and an end of karma. Whew. That's a pretty good list of benefits by being able to achieve enlightenment. Okay? Next quote, and this is kind of connected to this last one. Quote, unless the soul divests itself of I am ego consciousness by the divine intuitional consciousness of interiorized meditation, one remains ineptly disunited from spirit. Interesting phrase. Okay, it's another way of saying that all of this is letting go of ego guidance. I've talked about this in other episodes, so that it can be replaced by soul guidance. Soul is that spark of divinity, that reflection of divinity in all of us. and that when we are guided by our soul, we're truly guided by wisdom and can live that wisdom-inspired life. So at the heart of all this, and I've talked about this in other episodes too, to achieve soul guidance as a replacement for ego guidance, the process of meditation is critical to that process of letting go of the ego. In many ways, meditation helps us to observe and manage our thoughts, that monkey mind that exists prior to advanced meditation, where we sit to be quiet and just thoughts kind of constantly run through our mind. Meditation gradually helps settle those thoughts. There is an imagery that masters teach relative to meditation that I think is very relevant, and it goes this way. When we sit to meditate, we are like a jar of muddy water. And when we sit to meditate, it's like taking that jar, putting it down, and let the mud settle. And when we settle, what happens is the mud settles to the bottom and clarity emerges in the top of the jar. That's what happens when we let our thoughts settle. Okay? So, as a part of this process of achieving soul guidance and letting go of the ego guidance, we need to detach from emotions, the storm of emotions that can churn us up all too frequently. And on the other side of it, we need to cultivate compassion and love. Okay? So, some very positive, powerful things that we can do to move from ego guidance to soul guidance. As always, I'm deeply appreciative of you listening to these episodes. I look forward to reconnecting with you soon. Thank you very much.